All right, well, this is going to be a very different kind of video for me. This is my first video really talking about emulation. I, like a lot of other people, have gotten into emulation. I have I have a couple of devices, but the one I am recording off of right now is my favorite. It's my most current, and it's one that has gotten a lot of attention. It is the Iron Odin 2 Pro. So this is the top of the line of their devices. I know there's a new device every couple minutes, it seems like, but for now, this is their top of line. Let me talk about it. There's lots of videos out there about these devices. So this isn't going to be a typical review of the device itself. I just wanted to talk about my setup, what I use it for, how I like it. So for me, I wasn't looking for a device that I could play Xbox 360 on, or I should say Xbox Series X on, or anything like that. When I play my Xbox Series X, I'm more likely than not playing Call of Duty, something of that nature. I don't typically want to play that on a smaller screen, and I'm usually using this device to play in an area of my home or in a location that is not my game room, meaning I'm with other people, like my kids, etc. So I don't use this for that sort of gaming. I use this to play retro games. And for me, when I'm playing retro games, I'm not online, so I don't need the newest systems. Now, this thing I have loaded pretty much all of my favorites. The only thing I don't have is I don't have an Xbox because I don't have emulation for it. I have the Nintendo 3DS, and the items, by the way, you're seeing, that's the number of games. So, Nintendo 3DS, here's my library that I have for it. I admittedly don't play any of these games other than Mario Golf, Mario Kart 7. I've touched this, and Spy Hunter. Now, well, I guess I'll just go through the game. I'll go through this and then I'll talk about why I like this stuff. So, then we have the Dreamcast. And by the way, this is I'm gonna butcher the name. Yeah, Daigisho is the platform I'm using. You can see on the screen now, these are the emulators that I have installed. That's for the Sega Saturn. I have RetroArch on here, Nintendo 64, Dolphin emulator. So yeah, and like I said, there's lots of videos out there. These are the few mobile games that I play on here, not often, but I do have them. Obviously, there's your PSP. So anyway, uh, here's the Dreamcast. 19 items. That's 19 games. Let's take a look at the games here. Marvel vs. Capcom 2, NBA 2K2, play a lot of that. NFL 2K2, love it. Out Trigger, haven't tried it yet, but I will. Ready to Rumble Boxing, Sega GT, Urban Chaos, Soul Calibur, Sonic Adventure 2, Soldier of Fortune, Silent Scope, Sega Rally, World Series Baseball. So some of these games, you might be wondering, like, I haven't played a lot of them, or I haven't tried them in the past. Admittedly, I didn't always have all of these systems, so there are games on here that came, or that I copied over from my previous emulating device that I had the SD card on, and those games, I I didn't necessarily download all of them myself. Some I added and deleted. So there are games that I've never played that are on here that I'm willing to try because I'm getting them through emulation, so I'm not buying every individual game. And don't get me wrong. Um, Here in the corner arcade for myself, I am a fan of physical media. So I love emulation and I love physical media. The, the two to me, it's not a zero sum game. Okay, it's not a binary choice. I have a PlayStation 2 library that I think is pretty substantial. I would say I probably have a similar, not as many, but I have a good amount of Xbox 360 games, physical. I have a Nintendo 64 plugged in. I have Nintendo 64 games sitting in front of me. My Series X, I have no physical games for other than Xbox One games that I bought. Um, I don't have my Dreamcast anymore. I do have a PSP that I don't use. I have a DS. I don't know where it is. That I got for super cheap. I have a Nintendo Switch. This thing does run Switch, but I haven't tried that yet because I play the Switch mainly to play with friends online. Um, so overall, I would say that I am somebody who is a fan of physical media. So I want to get that out there. But the one thing that I love about emulation is that you can try out games that you don't necessarily want to spend the funds on. So here we go. 007 Everything or Nothing, Nightfire. Now these are the Game Boy Advance versions. These are not bad. And what I'm going to do on this channel, because I'm now, I have a way to plug in my Iron Odin, is I will be going into some games that I didn't necessarily want to hook up my systems for, or that I don't have physical copies of. I will do individual reviews of some of these games. We'll do themes, etc. So I'm going to expand the channel a little bit by going through this, but this video is really just to kind of show the library, talk about what I like, and maybe I'll do a little gameplay in here. Sonic Advance. Just, again, I don't play all these games. Donkey Kong Country. Now this one I love. Crash Nitro Kart. I love this game. This is that's a fun one. Street Fighter Alpha. Haven't played this yet. Super Street Fighter. I haven't even touched that yet on the Game Boy Advance. Game Boy Advance, by the way, has a pretty awesome library. This is one of those libraries that when people talk about the great libraries, you always hear NES, you always hear the PlayStation 2, and I think the PlayStation 2 is the top of the line, and the Xbox 360. To me, those are the three most popular library content driven systems of all time. But an honorable mention needs to be the Game Boy Advance. We're talking about a mobile device that played games, 3D, lots of fun, good variety, covered your sports, even had wrestling. Very solid. Metal Slug, that's a great series. CT Special Forces. This is a good game. Let me say this. If you've ever played SWAT on the PSP, which I am going to show either in its own, I'm going to have to do its own video on that because I love that game. And that game I discovered on this in my emulation journey. The SWAT on the PSP is one of the most underrated games I have ever played. I never heard of it until I randomly came across it. It is an unbelievably fun game. It's a tactical top-down shooter where you control a team of three. This game on the Game Boy Advance is almost the exact same thing. Graphics aren't going to be as good. I get that. But I would recommend if you have a Game Boy Advance, pick this game up. You will not regret it. Same thing for Special Forces 2. Max Payne on the Game Boy Advance, actually a fun game. Mortal Kombat Deadly. I mean, there's just a lot of good games. This is a very good library. Even you got Tekken on the Game Boy Advance. Tekken, a PlayStation staple. Now I had Tekken 1 on the PlayStation, the big box version when that came out, and I have not played this on here yet, but I will be trying that out. Driver, surprisingly not bad on the Game Boy Advance. Again, not a game you would expect to play well on an older mobile system, but it does. I have not tried these games. Ninja Council, I've not tried, so I can't speak on it. The Ninja Turtle games, haven't played those on here yet. I love the arcade Ninja Turtle game. I play that with my niece and my son and my wife even. We all kind of enjoy that one. Shout out to my buddy Pat, was just playing that with him the other day. If you watch this. Disney Sports Football. This I have not tried. I have no idea about this. I didn't really know anything about Disney Sports. I'm assuming this was their attempt to capitalize on the IP of Disney and create like a competitor to Mario. Don't know if that ever took off. Triple X, never played that in the Game Boy Advance, but I'm sure I'll have to try that out. Medal of Honor. I will be trying that out. So there's a lot of games on here I've never played. Spider-Man 2, there's some good ones here. These games are surprisingly fun. Batman. There's some people watching this that are rolling their eyes saying, yeah, of course, you didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't get a Game Boy Advance until about 3 or 4 years ago. And then I started emulation is when I really got into the library. Dead to Rights. Dead to Rights is just a great game. That's a game I think most of us have ended up buying more than once to play it on current systems. Crazy Taxi's not bad on this system. I know obviously we all prefer it on the Dreamcast, but not bad. One thing I will say about this Show or whatever, I'm gonna butcher the name. They do a good job of picking up the box and the box art for these games. There are games that it will not pick up. Um, now, so you got to sometimes you'll download a game, and by the way, I can download games through Wi-Fi directly to the system. So I don't even plug it in anymore and use my computer. I download it straight up. It's running on the most current Android. So if you have a new Samsung phone, my device is using the same Snapdragon system that you have. This thing down, I can download the game directly, and then just move the file from that to my emulating file that I have synced, and reload the path so that it resyncs all the games that are in the folder. And most of the time, it'll pick up the box art. If it doesn't right away, sometimes you'll notice it loads up later. But there are some games where it'll just put this generic looking thing on there. But most of the games that you're going to see have the box art. Very nice touch. Just something I wanted to point out and give credit to. Did a good job. Fire Pro Wrestling, really any system this is going to work because it's not graphically, challenging. It is fun. I've played a couple of matches on here. I would recommend it. I know that there's some newer versions of that game out that include, the New Japan IP with some more current wrestlers. But check it out. It's fun if you like wrestling. You see, this is just a huge library. Justice League, Legends of Rest. This is not so great on the system, but whatever. Also, Game Boy Advance is like the games are so small, it takes you not even a minute to load. So if there's a game you're even thinking about, it just takes up no memory and it takes no time to download it. So I just threw it on there. Kill Switch, Need for Speed. I mean, it's just like a whatever, right? Mario Golf, Mario Kart Super Circuit. There you go. That's a beauty. Love it. Um, and then Tony Hawk. I have Tony Hawk on my PS1 on here. That's what I play the most in terms of Tony Hawk, but still good to have. Then we have the Game Boy Color. Game Boy Color, I don't play this that often because I'm more on. If I'm gonna play Game Boy, I'm probably on the Game Boy Advance. But there are some good games in here. Some things that you probably remember as a kid. Bomberman, Mega Man. It again. These games take up so little memory that it's almost foolish not to give it a shot. All right, so I would recommend it. It's just an easy peasy conversion here. Just make sure I'm not scrolling over anything that I really play a lot. Like I said, I don't play this that much. These wrestling games are not great, but whatever. I said it's there. Perfect Dark. This is actually a decent game. On here, Perfect Dark's a great series, obviously. Then we have the GameCube. We're getting into some of the big boys here. So the GameCube, I don't have a ton of games for this, but I do play this. So Mario Kart Double Dash, love that. I don't have a physical GameCube anymore, so this is where I play my GameCube games. So again, Mario Kart Double Dash, a great one. Ridge Racer, I always love Ridge Racer series. Just a huge fan of that. I love the maps. Um, Rogue Ops, I need to try that. Star Fox Assault, I just downloaded this. I'll do a video on that, so I'll try. I've never played this game, so we can do a video on that, and we'll try it out together. So that'll be fun. Um, let's see. And then, the wrestling games. I will say the wrestling games is where I have the most fun on here. I don't play Smash, but I have it on here. Day of Reckoning 2, WrestleMania 18, WrestleMania 19. I have pretty much every wrestling game from the Nintendo 64, minus the Xbox, all the way through the PlayStation 2 era, PSP era. So SmackDown vs. Raw is about as high up as I go. I have SmackDown vs. Raw 11, which I'll show you. It is awesome if you have this series or if you have this emulation and you don't have the physical games to be able to play all these games. These things run smoothly on here. You're not missing anything. 13, this is a fun first person shooter from Ubisoft. Think of, I'm trying to think, what was the name of that series on the place? Time Splitters. Think Time Splitters style pace, but just a different IP. Sega Genesis. I admittedly barely touch this. I just don't play a lot of the older systems on here. It's not that I have a problem with it. I grew up. Look, I had a Super Nintendo was my first ever system, but I'm just not as into these games. Every once in a while, I'll go back and play one of the oldies, like Road Rash. But for the most part, I'm not. I'm just not someone who's obsessed over Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. Emulation for these has been out for so long. You guys know that these all work. Pat Riley. Um, so just this is almost not necessary to even show, but just it's there. Tons of games for it that I don't touch. Nintendo 64. Boom. Now we're getting back into the heavier guys. All right. So this runs smoothly. All Star Baseball 99 is a fun one. I don't play this. Cruising USA. Diddy Kong Racing. I love that game. Uh, Fox Sports College Hoops is actually a fun basketball game. And the Fox IP is awesome. The music is amazing. Okay, the music actually makes it for me, frankly. I love the Fox Sports series in terms of sports games, and I wish that because you just don't have sports games nowadays that have television production for like the game displays, like the overlay of the stats and the scoreboard, all that stuff. So that's just something that I really appreciate in some of the older sports games. Having emulation is beautiful because you just have access to all the stuff that just goes by the wayside. GoldenEye, we all love this one. The only problem with GoldenEye on here is you're not playing online. So, you're not going to play multiplayer on here because obviously you're emulating and you also aren't playing online. But I have this for other systems and I have the real thing. Knockout Kings, Kobe Bryant NBA Courtside, Lego Racers. That's actually a fun game also. Old Madden, Mario Golf. That's always fun. Mario Kart 64, probably the best one or one of my favorites of all time. The original Mario Party. Mario Party is a great game. It's always fun to play with friends. Mario Party 3. That's another thing. You're not playing this with friends. I play Mario Party on the Switch with my friends. So unfortunately, you can't do that on here. Mario Tennis, NBA on NBC. This is another one where the television production is what makes it fun. You get to hear that theme song. Although, for those who don't know, NBA 2K24, you actually do have the NBA on NBC theme, Round Ball Rock. It's in the game. So if you're playing in any of the retro modes, what do they call it? The eras. When you go to the quarter breaks and halftime break, they play the music. So if you didn't know that, check that out. It's pretty cool. And they have the old presentation of it's the NBA and NBC without it saying NBC. Blades of Steel and Breakaway, these are fun games. Star Wars, that's awesome. Ready to Rumble. Gretzky's Hockey. Again, you can just overload. And then, of course, I don't have World Tour. I don't know why I didn't download it. The music in that game is unbelievable. I have the real thing. I have the box. I actually have a very clean copy of that game. It's so clean. I just literally have the box on top of my game displays just because I love it. So anyway, WCW NWO Revenge, WWF No Mercy, and WrestleMania 2000. WrestleMania 2000 I think is underrated because No Mercy was great, and this game is the last WCW one from the Akai THQ group. But Don't sleep on WWF WrestleMania 2000. This was a good game with a great roster. Again, any requests you want on these, I will do. If you see a game in here or you have a game in mind, just tell me. I'll download it. I'll do a video on it. But I will be doing specific videos. Trust me. I will be. There's just a lot to do. It's an overwhelming amount of games I have on here. Bloodstone, Quantum of Solace. Is it good on the DS? Actually, not bad. I have not have I played Bloodstone. One of these I have played, the other one I haven't. Admittedly, I am forgetting which one, because it's been a little while, but it runs okay. By the way, the Iron Odin 2 is touchscreen also, so you will be able to use the DS multi-screen controls if that's a concern of yours. I do enjoy that, but the game plays pretty well. Diddy Kong Racing on here. Let's see. I haven't played it on this one. Like I said, I think I've only played on Game Boy Advance. Spider-Man, Blades of Thunder. The Call of Duty games on here are not bad. Also, the graphics are okay. The controls are okay. So that's another one to not sleep on. GoldenEye 007, this is the Activision version of it. Guitar Hero is actually pretty fun on here. Um, and then of course Mario Kart DS. I love Mario Kart, so I'm biased. This game, okay, on the DS. Why do I have this game? Let me tell you something. The current WWE 2K24 that is coming out in a matter of weeks has the first ambulance match on console, okay, ever, right? Not quite. There was one game in the history of professional wrestling video games that had an ambulance match. And you know which game that is? WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2010 featuring ECW on the DS. Why? I have no idea. Why would they put that match on this game and only on the DS? I don't know. I literally heard that for the first time a couple weeks ago and went ahead and downloaded this game because of that. If you have the DS or even emulator, download it so that you can play an ambulance match. I'll play CM Punk versus Chris Jericho, and I'll stuff them in the ambulance. And it's basically what you're going to be getting in the current game. And it's actually not a bad game, considering on the DS. NES, again, I don't play it, but it's nice to have, but I don't use it. PlayStation 2. So your PlayStation 2 library will run just fine on here. Every once in a while I get a little hiccup on 2K5 for some reason. It might slow down, but overall the Maddens run smoothly, as smooth as my PS2. Agent Under Fire, Everything or Nothing. These are great games. Same thing with 2K5. I think there's something with the 2K games, the 2K5 games that emulate on here that are just they can slow down randomly, not all the time, but randomly. So that's the only thing I've found. The Punisher, haven't played this on here yet, but I have played the Punisher before. In fact, I did a video on that game on my channel, so check that out. It's a good game. Need to try this game out. And then, of course, True Crime, SOCOM. And then here we go. SmackDown vs. Raw 07, SmackDown vs. Raw 11. Not a huge fan of these two because I don't love the controls as much. But then Here Comes the Pain. I did a video on that. I love that game. I play it on here a lot because I'm trying to unlock everything. SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. Play that on here for the same reasons. I'm trying to unlock everything I have on my PS2 console version. SmackDown vs. Raw, the original game. This is a good game. The roster, obviously, the biggest drop is that from Here Comes the Pain down to SmackDown vs. Raw, the biggest difference is the gameplay improves slightly, the camera angle changes, but the roster, you're going to lose Kevin Nash, Scott Steiner, Goldberg, Brock Lesnar. Let's see who else was in that game. Those are the big ones. Well, Hulk Hogan wasn't in Here Comes the Pain anyway. So you lose some star power. And that's really the theme of wrestling in that time period. Ruthless aggression era, as it goes on, you're losing the superstars of the past and you're adding younger guys who are trying to fill the void. Compared to today, you still have good star power, but overall, you're that's the biggest difference in the roster. But the rosters are still good. The gameplay is amazing. I am currently in a season with Rhino, where again I'm trying to unlock everything, and I also like that. Unlike the later games, this game you unlock things through cash and the um, the progression. It's not terrible. The cost of each superstar unlockable. The only thing they missed in this game is they didn't put Stone Cold in the game, which was a little frustrating. He's easy to create, but why wouldn't you have Steve Austin in the game? It's really stupid. Um, this is the next game up. This is 2005, if you want to think of it that way, and this is '06 is the next one. And this game, you do have Steve Austin as an unlockable. I've actually unlocked Stone Cold, Bret Hart in this game already, and I think to unlock the Rock, you have to complete the SmackDown story. So I'm working on that. What's the difference between these two games? Well, we'll do a video on that and get into that specifically. Um, and then here's SmackDown. Just bring it. Why do I have this? This is still a fun game. Roster's pretty good. Obviously, we'll document the specifics as to what I think I did a video on this already. But overall, when you're playing on an emulator, why not get the whole library? Don't skimp out because what's the difference? It's all free. Um, PlayStation Portal, this thing is a beast. The best portable system of all time. I love the DS. I love the Game Boy Advance. Probably I like even more than the DS because I like the library better. But the PSP is unbelievable, and it's a shame that Xbox and Sony have not been able to touch the quality of the PSP since then. And when you have an emulator like I have, the difference between the PSP and this is that the battery life on your emulator on an Iron Odin is better than the Switch and a PSP. So you're going to be able to enjoy the quality of these games even more so because A, they're all loaded onto the system, and B, the battery life is better. Uh, all these games are good. I have no complaints. The quality, the visuals, the Maddens on here are actually amazing considering Metal Gear Solid, Miami Vice. Oh, and on the PS2, I did forget to mention I played a lot of the Madden '05 and '09 on there. Fun as hell, and they run very smoothly. One thing you got to remember, you got to calibrate your controls when you use these things because and double check that because if something doesn't feel right, it's probably just needs to be calibrated. Like the joystick for me wasn't calibrated right on my PS2, and I wasn't able to use the joystick, the right analog stick up properly. I just had to redo it. MVP Baseball on PSP is amazing. I'll do a video on that, or I'll do some sample gameplay. Again, any requests, please give them to me. All these are fun. Rock Band, all the wrestling games on here. These are identical to the PS2 versions. The only difference being that these are graphically going to be a little lighter, so the crowd doesn't look as good and all that. But trust me, the gameplay you'll forget that you're on a PSP and not a PS2. I don't like the controls of Siphon Filter to be honest, but it's still a decent game. This is the game that I was talking about before, SWAT Target Liberty. This game should have been, well, I guess Sierra, I don't know if they still make games. This game should be redone and should be on a current system. You control a three-man SWAT team. It is an absolute blast. It's such a miss that this game is not on like an Xbox 360 or a current system. I think they should do a version of it. It's one of the better police games you'll ever have. Simple storyline. You're just going in, taking out gangs, and you control. The controls are actually surprisingly easy considering it's PSP and you have to control multiple people. But it's fun. It's action packed. It's tactical, but it's not hard. So it's just a lot of fun if you like shooter games. especially if you're looking for cop games. It's probably the best police game I've ever played. PlayStation 1, obviously, like the PS2, it's an amazing library. Can't miss. Tomorrow Never Dies, I did a video on this on my channel already. I love 007 Racing. I don't know why this game takes some flack. It's a fun game. The music, I'm a Bond fan, so anything Bond IP related, I'm gonna love. Die Hard Trilogy 2, fun game, Driver 2, Gran Turismo, the old Madden, NHL Championship 2000. This is one of the best hockey games I've ever played. The sound effect of the puck hitting the stick and hitting the going from stick to stick on passing, probably the best ever done in a hockey game. And the TV style presentation of Fox Sports is off the chart. And actually, it's so good that I just want to play at least the intro, um, just so you can get an idea. And I will be doing a video on this. So let's just boot this up real quick. And like I said, I know I'm gonna do individual videos, but I want you guys to at least see the intro to this because damn it, I love it. Oh yeah. Is this like getting in the mood for a little hockey or what, huh? So obviously 2000, this is going to be about 1998. Yager. All right. Pretty cool, right? So yeah, this is NHL Championship 2000 on the PlayStation 1. And also this game has this system has casting, screen casting, because it's a modern Android. So I will sit in my living room and cast this to my big TV. I also have you could buy an HDMI to USB-C um, cord and then just straight up plug it into your television, and then you can just hold it in your hand and play that way. When you cast, you can still see the game on your device at the same time. When you plug it in via cord, you lose that ability. So just so you know, so that's whether I don't know if you care about that, but that's really the only difference. I find that they are um, both very effective. There's no lag when I cast to my living room, but there is lag when I cast to my TCL in my game room. So I don't know if that's the TV settings. That's just one thing I do notice. So I would suggest get the cord just in case. Make sure it's long enough. If that's something that you plan on doing, connecting to a TV to play. Right now, I'm playing through my computer. I have this plugged into my computer. How I record video. So this is the first time I've used it for that. Let's see, just load settings real quick. I'm just gonna do like 2 minutes of gameplay on this thing, very very quickly. I said this video is gonna go a little long just because I really wanted to get through the library, just talk about it, talk about the games, and give you little tidbits about the system. Overall, if you're looking for like a specific review of this device, I can do that, but there's a lot of videos out there already about that, and I just wanted to focus on, my setup, how I use this, and what I like about it. So just do Penguins Rangers real quick. Let's jump into it. Like I said, I'm not gonna do the full game. This will be quick. Look at the presentation. If you remember the NHL on Fox, and Fox Sportsnet covered the NHL up until about 6 years ago, I think, maybe even sooner. So that you probably remember, but this is the '90s presentation of the NHL on Fox. It was amazing. Still a favorite to this day. So with the Fox tracks of the puck and everything, the sound effects, and also one of the best broadcast duos you ever have, Kenny Albert and John Davidson. Yeah, this is a banger. Oh, and you'll also notice when I hit pause, you get a cut of music going into the pause and a cut of music coming out of the pause, just like you're going in and out of television. So the TV presentation on this thing was absolutely tremendous. Probably the greatest ever done in the history of sports video games, in my opinion. Specifically the broadcast with the overlay and all that. Anyway, and I like to change the camera angle because I want the television style effect. Some people like the up down, but for me, it's I want to basically play like I'm playing like I'm watching this on TV. You got to get over the graphics. If that's a big deal for you, you're not going to enjoy this game. This is a game that came out in like 1999, I think. So if graphics is the be all and end all for you, then obviously, this will be a problem. But and yeah, the rules are I turned off. It starts as really an arcade kind of game, so you're not if you're looking for offside and all that, you don't have that initially, but you can turn that on. So it's Pavel Bure, one of my favorite hockey players. Woo! I have a poster of him in my room. The Allen Iverson of hockey, Pavel Bure. Nice. Bobbing and weaving, scoring. Again, graphics. You're not playing this because of graphics. Now, at the time, the graphics were amazing, but obviously nowadays that's not the case. But who cares? It's about the gameplay. It's about the sound. Um, that's what it's about. Oh, two quick ones. The Russian rocket. Already buried that one. Nice setup. Dun 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 dun. All right. And then the beauty of emulation, right? The beauty of this thing, I just hit pause. I hit the double tap on the home button, and I'm out. Right. So there you go. All right. So then Ridge Racer 4, Spider-Man, Tomb Raider, Tony Hawk. I mean, I love the Tony Hawk games are amazing. I think do I have Tony? Yeah, Tony Hawk Pro 4, Skater 4, probably my favorite. Um, the soundtrack is fun, but even if you're not, even if you want to just throw on your own music and just play this game, you're gonna have a blast. Top Gun, haven't played this game on here, but I've played the more modern version. I have to imagine the PS1 version is going to be great. We'll do a video on that at some point. This is the first UFC game for the PlayStation 1. And then we have Twisted Metal 2, WCW Mayhem. I know. WCW Mayhem, this is Electronic Arts' attempt at a wrestling game. We never got to see Mayhem 2. That was in development for the PlayStation 2 until the WWF purchased World Championship Wrestling, and then they obviously decided not to complete the game. This game is not bad, okay? It's probably better on the Nintendo 64, but if you're just looking for WCW, obviously WCW NWO Revenge and then World Tour are better games. But if you wanted to play a WCW video game and you are just, itching for it, this is going to scratch that itch. Okay? So I just want to point out It's not that bad. You get used to the controls, you get used to the game. It's actually a fun game. It just doesn't touch what THQ was putting out at the time. But for emulation, you got to download it. Um, this is WCW versus the World. This was the first WCW IP game for the PlayStation, I believe, in the THQ era. Um, I think there was a game released before this made by THQ. This game is pretty good. Um, it's the precursor of the SmackDown series. It's not bad. And then you have obviously WWF SmackDown and WWF SmackDown 2. These are great games. Fun, fast paced. Rosters are great. Just can't go wrong with these games. Also, the match types. You get a casket match in this game. The backstage areas are fun. So, again, if you have an on emulation, why would you not want to pick this up? All right, guys, we're getting there. So then Super Nintendo. I don't really play Super Nintendo, like I said on here. I mean, you could take a look at the games. I don't play it. I don't even have my Super Nintendo with me, but it's decent. Obviously, the library's good. I just don't play these games enough. And then last but not least, you have the Wii. Now the Wii and the GameCube library, it's they kind of cross over each other. I don't play this that often, and you can see like these don't have the box art. There's Wii Sports, which is okay. I played that once. And then these are just the GameCube games. So, this is it. This is what I have on my library here. I would recommend this platform. I recommend the system and the games. To me, that's the easiest thing to recommend because it's not going to cost you anything. I could do individual videos on pretty much all these. I love them all. Did I skip something here? I'm trying to think. Oh, I might have skipped. I think I actually deleted my Saturn. The Sega Saturn was giving me some problems. I think I actually deleted it from here. Or no, I don't have it on here. Let me just back in. I think I have it on here. So this was the one. This is the one I couldn't get to work. These are the only games that I've been able to reliably play. So I have a Daytona, the Saturn is just not a great game for a great system for emulation, as most of you know. Let's see. You want to jump into another game here? We could do that. ECW, of course. You gotta have one ECW game. Let's see. What am I? You want to see NBA 2K? That's a fun game. NFL 2K. These are the ones I probably play the most on here, even though these are the games are okay. Let's just do. Yeah, something else. The Dreamcast does work fine. If that's a concern of yours, it works fine. I could do. Let's just do Daytona. Daytona. Let's go and race. Oh yeah, you'll be fine with the Dreamcast if that's a system that you are, that you're emulating for. So I need to zoom back in. Let's see. We'll just do a quick game here. And like I said, I'll take requests. If you guys have requests, time battle, verse battle, yeah, net battle. That is online play. That's right. Remember, the Dreamcast was the first console system to integrate the internet and to be able to play multiplayer online. They were the first. They don't get any credit. You know, they're the system that got wiped out by the PS2. You know, everybody knows the history, but you got to give the Sega Dreamcast a lot of credit because they were the first to integrate the internet and integrate online multiplayer before it was really, you know, out there for Xbox or PlayStation 2. You know, Xbox was the last of the seventh generation to come around. It was the Dreamcast that was released in late 1998, I believe, and they were the first to do this. Anyway, we just do single race. Oops, keep forgetting which button is which because I'm using to going from system to system. Let's see. I don't care. The car is fine. Course. Let's just start.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
So I'll take requests. You can put them in the comments below. If you want to do, I don't remember what button this was. You know, if you want to see specific game, oops, remember which one. You know, put in the comments if you want to. Oops, keep changing the view. Pretty terrible at this game, as you can see. So you can go ahead and put in the comments if you want a specific request. Whoa, I flipped. Oh, man. Oh, that was terrible. I am terrible at this game. Alright, let's see, what else can we play? Slender Fortune. I don't know if I calibrated the controls on that thing. To play a quick game of 2K. Yeah, put in the comments. Want a specific game? I am going to be going through a rotation. I'll do some very specific videos on themes, whether it's sports, action, shooters, IPs like Mario Kart, something like that, or I can do one-off games. It's just kind of how I feel. Like I said, I just got this really set up to record because I had to buy a HDMI to USB-C cord in order to connect here. So you know, now I'm in position where I can actually let's see. So make sure there's no change this to arcade. Let's go ahead and pay the Sixers at the Nets. Now I can actually record on here, which is pretty cool. So. Just never really loved the back camera for some reason. Ugh, that was terrible. Excellent job by me, dribbling out of bounds. I used to be able to score. Shoot. So, gotta get used to the controls again, but get smoked here. These are good net Steves I'm playing against too.
Perfectly executed.
But to have access to all this stuff at your fingertips, pretty cool. I don't want my tongue working.
Down low. Be a little up.
I apologize if you hear any noise in the background. My 1-year-old is crying because my wife's trying to get her a ticket. All rattled out.
But still managed to leave no daylight between him and the back. On the double team.
Tumbo. Not in the house in Dikembe. Oh, God. Running out of bounds. Anyway, get my drift on this game. And let's see what else. I got a Dreamcast, Game Boy Advance. Can't go wrong here. Mario Kart Super Circuit. I love this game. I will say this: Mario Kart Super Circuit. The only thing that's rough about that game is you are literally, the courses are so tight. It's all tight turns. That's the challenge of that game. Oh, Sum of Fears is a pretty good game too, by the way. Try. And then we got GameCube. I don't know if you want to see anything on here. See if you don't believe me that it works. It does. Got Mario Kart 13. I played. And then lastly, we have, or we can look at some N64. You know, that works. DS, PS2. Maybe you want to see PS2. I think I had one of these open already. So let's see. You can play. in 2006, and USC, Shut Your Mouth. All these work just fine. Let's just do SmackDown vs. Raw. I'll do a video on this game specifically also, but I'll go ahead and jump in and do one game or one match with this so you can see it. So yeah, the PS2 works, the GameCube works, sure 360 Switch works, but I haven't played it on here, but I've seen it on online a few times. And then if I had a good emulator for the 360, sure that would work as well. Seems pretty powerful. But all your old favorites are on here, so it's pretty cool. And again, for those who don't know, SmackDown vs. Raw is essentially, think of it as SmackDown as the 2004 into 2005 game, whereas Here Comes the Pain is more like the 2003 game. So that's the key difference in the roster. Um, that's why you lose out. Now, I think they technically could have kept the Kevin Nashes, the Goldbergs, all the they could have kept them in the game because they were there in 2004. They just left after WrestleMania, which is in what, April 1st or end of March. So that was really that's just a choice of the WWE to do that. I think they just wanted to move on from the guys that were probably distracting from the next generation, which was obviously the Randy Ortons, the John Cenas. They really wanted to push the new guys, the Batistas, and all. I mean, minus Brock Lesnar, obviously. Everybody that left was a vet. So I have a season mode going, but I'm not gonna get into that. Yeah, they have pay per view mode, creative mode. Um, Create mode is like, yeah, you create a superstar, move set, editing, stable. The shop zone. This is where you unlock things. So I've unlocked Bret Hart so far. I've unlocked Legion of Doom, and then the next guy I wanted to unlock was The Rock. It's gonna take me a while. I'm still working through my season to get more cash. Then I'll probably do Mankind, and that's about it. I don't really care about the other things. I also unlocked WrestleMania 20 Arena, so we can actually do a match there. So let's see. Your match types, same as Here Comes the Pain. The difference between this and I would say 2006 SmackDown vs. Raw is that you get the bar in the backstage options, and they also added Buried Alive match. So that's the probably one of or that is the biggest difference. Let's see. We can do. Let's see. Table match. Sable's in this game and Brock isn't. Huh? Let's do Batista, Big Show, Booker T. It's a good roster here. Very good roster. It's just missing some of the, top end guys that Here Comes the Pain has, which it's unfortunate, but they'll always be compared to Here Comes the Pain. Shut Your Mouth is a great roster too. Um, been using Rhino a lot in my season mode. I use RVD or something. Let's do Rob Van Dam. Actually, fight dirty. Let's fight against Baba Ray. These arenas too. Backlash, Judgment Day, Bad Blood, Vengeance, SummerSlam, No Mercy. What an era. Nothing's gonna change what you're doing to me. Don't want to get copyright. So we'll just skip over some of this. The arena looks cool though, right? So here comes the pain. The the big difference is that and here comes the pain. Your camera angle was straight, so face the ramp. And in this game, they changed it back to the side, or they put it on the side, so it's like the television angle. That it is a preference thing. I don't think there's a right and wrong, in my opinion. I I probably the newer game that's coming out. I think they said you have the option, which I think is cool. I'll probably use the angle with the ramp just because I haven't seen it in so long. But it is nice to have both. I don't really know what the advantage would be um, of one or the other, to be honest. I'm just trying to think like why would you want it? I guess to see the ramp, maybe see somebody coming. I don't know. But they tell you when someone's interfering. So maybe that's not even a good reason. Beat the hell out of Bubble Ray here.
Watching Rob Van Dam, JR.
Come on. I think I gotta get him back to the ring because I'm not sure if I can set this up or not. He keeps throwing it to you. I want to throw it. The stamina system I think comes in 2006, but I turned that off. It's horrible. Um, just being honest, I've never liked it. 5 star, nice. One of a kind. All right, so there you go. That's SmackDown vs. Raw. See, it runs just fine on here. Like I said, this thing is pretty awesome. You can hop into all these games. Usually I swipe to close, but I don't have my access to the screen because I'm connected to my computer. But I recommend that the Iron Odin 2. This is how I have mine set up. These are the games that I play. This is what I like to do on here. If you have any requests or questions or anything, put them in the chat. like put them in the comments. I will be doing more videos specific to specific games, and we can go through specific games and like I would any other review. But I just wanted to show you the library I have, what I like, give you a feel for what it's like to have access to all this great stuff, and to have it mobile is pretty awesome. Obviously, when you're on the road, you don't have Wi-Fi, but normally I have my Wi-Fi on at home so I can download anything. If you want to save a little bit of battery, I guess you could turn that off, turn off Bluetooth, and you're good to go. But anyway, this is how I have fun with this thing, the Iron Odin 2 Pro, and that's what we like to do here is have fun in the corner arcade. All right, thanks everybody.